Welcome to Internet of Things and the Connected Family. I'm Avram Piltch, your moderator. I'm the Editorial Director for Tom's Guide and Laptop Mag. In my job, I get to view a lot of smart home technology. I've had a very interesting CES. I don't know about you, but I got to see all kinds of crazy smart home things from robots that will be your best friend to a smart garbage can. And I'm really eager to talk about it. Now let me introduce our panelists here. This is Bill Lee from Samsung.
Hey guys.
This is Don from Xfinity.
Dan Herscovici.
Dan Herscovici from Xfinity. Thomas Serval from Kolibree.
Hello.
And Chris Herbert from TrackR. Guys, why don't you each tell us a little bit about your company and the kinds of IoT things you do for the family?
Hey guys, so I'm the Vice President of Smart Home Product Marketing at Samsung Electronics America, and it's really my charter to make sure, so Samsung does incredible things in this space. We purchased a platform called SmartThings in the summer of 2014, and it's my responsibility for the team and I to really get the ecosystem message out there. So we know a lot about one-off solutions, cameras, thermostats, and locks and so forth, but the opportunity for us all and everyone in this room that will portend to incredible growth in the industry is tying everything together. So that's what we're going to talk about. I'm pleased to be here, and let's have some good questions from you guys, all right? In 58 and 10 seconds.
Afternoon, everybody. My name is Daniel Herscovici. I'm the SVP and GM for Xfinity Home. That's Comcast's home security and automation business and platform. I'm excited to be here. Our service leans in primarily on home security, but similar to the Samsung solution, we have a platform and ecosystem of devices that we unify under a single user interface, connect disparate IoT devices into a single experience for the consumer. So it's stitching together cameras and thermostats and light bulbs and garage door openers and door locks, marry them with a home security solution, and deliver that as a single experience to consumers.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Thomas Serval. I'm the founder and CEO of Kolibree. We make connected devices to change and improve your health. And the product we are featuring today at CES is a connected toothbrush with artificial intelligence. So basically what we are looking at right now is how you can bring those kind of new devices to improve, alter your behavior. And typically the story behind my product is me as a father. I had a daughter that didn't brush her teeth, and I tried to bring this out to the market, but also to solve my own problem, which has been solved according to my dentist.
I'm Chris Herbert. I'm the founder and CEO of TrackR. We have a vision that in the next 5 years, computers are going to keep track of all items for us. Instead of memorizing where our stuff is, computers are going to do that for us. And we're creating that vision by first making all items trackable, by selling tracking devices that can attach to keys, embedding them inside purses and the objects that you already buy from the store. And then we have a particular vision of the home, because that's where we misplace most of our items. So with that, we have this platform called Atlas that can map out your home and show you exactly which room your items are in. And then you can just ask Alexa, saying, Alexa, where are my keys? And it tells you exactly which room it's in. So we can save your marriage as well.
Oh, that's great. So one of the things that has been really big at this year's show, and I think it raises a lot of interesting questions, is it seems that, and it's not just CES, CES is kind of reflective of this, I'm seeing a lot of gadgets that have Amazon's Alexa assistant embedded inside. And in 2016, we also saw Google come out with its own home assistant. Obviously, people have been used to talking to Siri for a long time, although not in quite the same way. So I guess the question is, do we need an AI assistant to run our lives and run our home? And when we talk about AI, what's the type of AI that we want? Do we want one that has a personality, or do we want one that's just really working to kind of behind the scenes to help us? What do you think?
I mean, do we need these technologies? No. Do we need CES? No, but we're having a pretty good time coming out here and talking about technology. And I have the same opinion about anything once twice removed from voice or AI.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other magical moment, guys. Like 3 quintessential moments in a guy's life: marrying your best friend, the birth of your kids, and having technology work when you set it up for the first time. I'll tell you that when I set up my Amazon Alexa and my Samsung SmartThings home, I have over 65 connected things. It was beautiful that the systems would provision themselves and immediately start wanting to engage and be part of my family, my life. So you may or may not know this, but you guys can Google it. During Google's October 4th Pixel Press event, when they announced their phone, when they were talking about connected home and all the increased functionality of their Google Home device, they referenced 4 institutions: IFTT, they mentioned Google Nest, they mentioned Philips Hue, and they mentioned Samsung SmartThings. So out of the box, we had out-of-the-box integrations, and again, there's nothing more silky smooth than to have these products do stuff for you right out of the box. Hey, Google Home, turn my living room light to blue. Okay, blue. Come on, right? Do that all day. Do you have to? No. Do I want to? All day.
Wow, how do I follow that? So Comcast is in the voice business. For those of you that are in Comcast territory and have an X1 video experience, we've deployed 10 million voice remotes. We're deploying hundreds of thousands of voice remotes every month. That voice-enabled experience is powered by Comcast, and it's a great video interaction. We've also expanded those voice interactions to control your smart home. So turn your lights blue, unlock your door, turn up your temperature. All those capabilities exist.
Yeah.
I think that Amazon and Google and others have done a fantastic job elevating and bringing lean-back voice experiences into the home. Do I think that we need them? Not sure. I think that what we want to do is give consumers choice. So there's moments where a voice interaction is best. There's moments where interacting with your mobile is best. There's moments where interacting with your TV is best. I think the best thing to do is to give a consumer all those options and allow them to select the best way to interface with their smart home, with their home security system, with whatever they may be doing. So voice is an option. It's not the only option, but it's an important one, and it's one that flattens the user experience, and it's one that makes it easier and more natural to interact. And I turn my lights blue all the time.
Okay, how do I answer this then? So I'm coming from a different perspective, which is any new behavior you want to try to bring in a home and your daily life is actually a pain because it's a learning experience, etc. And despite the fact that voice activation have been around for a little while and we can understand voice command for more than 10 years with enough accuracy, fact is it has not spread the way we were supposed to happen in 2001 and stuff, with those beautiful vision of a computer or her, where we have someone that speaks is as smart and as sexy. So it seems that there is some stickiness in the current behavior. So when we want to alter our behavior, we need to have a very, very important payback. And the question is, what would be a good enough payback for you to really change the way you interact with things? And here I'm still struggling. I know it will be convenient, but is convenient enough for the whole family and the mass market to change, apart from the top 10 geeky person that are going to CES every year, like me? So that's still a very widely open question. From our perspective, we use AI in a very narrow way, which is we want this to make it invisible. My vision is like augmented objects, like you want to provide better services. The fact that you use AI or whatever, it doesn't matter, is can you provide better service? And there are stuff right now that are too complicated to be solved with traditional technology. So you have to use AI not as an end, but as a tool. Typically, right now, I take my example, recognizing where you are in your mouth is impossible to solve with sensors. There is no indoor location mechanism that you can do. So you have to use artificial intelligence, and more especially because artificial intelligence is a big word that is very popular, but there is a lot of realities. It's mostly a set of techniques from computer science techniques. And what you want to use as a tool is machine learning mechanism to train machine to better assess and understand signals that even your brain is not able to process. And the miracle of AI happening right now is if you send an input to a machine learning system, AI system, and you train it to have the right output, you are able to teach machine incredible things, from voice to image to locating you in your mouth. And that's, I think, is going to go everywhere, even without you noticing. So AI, for me, AI will not be the voice in your assistant. AI will be in making every single painful stuff that you are dealing with in your daily life as smooth as possible without even you knowing whether it's AI or anything else.
What do you think, Chris?
Well, I've done a keg stand on the Alexa Kool-Aid, so I think that it's beyond voice, and I think describing Alexa as just a voice interface robs it of its beauty. What we're witnessing right now is a true revolution in computing. Back in the 60s, you had to go to a server room to access a computer. Then you had finally desktop computing. You had laptops. We have phones. What Amazon is actually doing with Alexa is actually creating ubiquitous computing. We now have dots all over our homes. They have an AVS platform that's enabling hardware manufacturers to embed Alexa technology for free in any product with a speaker and a mic. They have free hardware designs to do this. They have full developer kits to create voice applications and experiences out there. And there's already 20 million devices sold. So I believe that this is going beyond just early tech adopters. This is going to a huge mass market around the world. And if you're not on that revolution right now, you're about to miss out on the next stage of computing.
So that kind of brings up an interesting question too about standards. Like one of the issues that people have had with smart home for a while is, well, there's a lot of different standards. There's a lot of different devices that don't always play well together. You know, I might get a smart plug that's on Wi-Fi, but I might get a camera that's on another standard. So what are people, so obviously there are systems that are turnkey. I think that something like Xfinity, the Xfinity system is great because it really brings everything together, and something like this Samsung Smart thing is great because it really brings things together. But do you think we're coalescing around some standards? It seems almost like Alexa may be the hub for a lot of people, and it may be just in terms of like a personal assistant type of software because they're licensing it out, and we've seen it to show in a robot and in a camera and in all kinds of things, that it may, in my opinion, it may really displace, put Google and some of the, Apple's Siri and Microsoft's Cortana, it may really kind of put them out of business, because if you're in so many devices, people are going to kind of expect it. But what do you guys think? Are we coalescing around some standards? Is Alexa one of them?
I guess kinda is the best way I can answer that. Trying not to be obtuse here. So my team and I use this expression when we talk to the press media and customers alike. We have this expression of, don't let perfection be the enemy of good. I think a lot of people, and we're all guilty of it, we imagine that smart home and the IoT world is a digital revolution, meaning that we'll wake up one day and we won't be dumb and we'll be smart. Reality should then steep in. I've been in CE for over 25 years, and reality should steep in and know that it's actually more of an analog event, right? You start off with some standards, you have some discussions, you have partnerships, you go to trade shows like CES, and you start to espouse the benefits of your company's approach. And if it's a popular one and one that offers a creative value to consumers, then people are going to kind of join the bandwagon. That's no different from what we're having and experiencing right now. But the point of my kind of pining on and on this is the fact that, we're not perfect right now, and for the most part, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, Z-Wave is kind of ruling the roost. But you know what? It's pretty good. Right? I mean, I think it's kind of cool that my SmartThings sensors that are Zigbee enabled will last for 2 years, and I don't have to plug it in. I think it's pretty cool that the Netgear Arlo cameras, the wireless guys, can last for 6 months. And I dived on the resolution. My cameras last for 6 months right now. That's not bad, right? For the versatility of being able to snap in a camera that's waterproof anywhere I want. So there's a little bit of sacrifice. I don't think it's hurting the consumer. It is definitely causing some confusion because people do like to read the packaging, right? We all know in retail, the ability to speak to an educated retail salesperson is diminishing through time. Not because the business model is kind of fading away of commissioned sales staff, but the fact is it's just impossible to keep both full-time and seasonal help educated all the time. And we have some great examples out there of retailers that are doing it, but it's more the minority than the majority. So until then, I want to reinforce to everyone in this room, I feel like we have this responsibility to tell our friends, families, and fans, the 3Fs, that the technology that's out there is like pretty darn good. Like, don't wait, jump in the water, it feels good.
That makes sense. What do you think? I feel like one thing in talking to some of the folks from Xfinity that seems really helpful is it really helps you, the security system that you guys have, you make it really easy to integrate different types of smart home things like Nest right into it.
Sure. So let's separate platforms from standards.
Right.
So I think that consumers don't care about the wireless interface that a device uses to access a platform. To your point, Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Z-Wave, Bluetooth, and Thread as an evolution of Zigbee is essentially the standards that are present. But from a consumer standpoint, all they care about is the platform that's in their home, the solution that they've selected. Does it actually work with the devices that they elect to buy? So what you really need is a brand mark, a compatibility mark. Smart Things indicates works with Smart Things. We indicate works with Xfinity Home. There's other works with programs. That's the indication to the consumer and confidence of the consumer that whatever they're buying will work with the platform that they've selected. We work, we believe in a curated ecosystem as opposed to a fully open ecosystem. It's open and all are welcome to join, but we test and certify our devices and then support those devices in a deep way. So our hope is to have a finite set of 30 or 40 devices that are best in class in major categories, and then support those devices, install those devices, and bring them to the masses, bring them to consumers that are not necessarily technology savvy.
What do you think? Are we coalescing around some standards, or does it even matter at this point because there are certification programs and there are companies that will make it easy for you?
Me?
Yeah, you, Thomas.
So, about standards right now, again, I go back to, so I agree with all what has been said, is like there is a set of standards already that are pretty vivid and reliable, and there is not so much need for more and more new standards that will, what's being needed from a purely a device manufacturer standpoint is probably a very strong simplification on certification, which goes beyond standard platform. Is like bringing a connected device to market is a nightmare in terms of certification. Believe it or not, they have because all those certifications have been invented before the IoT era. Yeah. They are contradictory. Where you are bringing a wireless device powered by electricity in the bathroom, you are entering an unknown area for any certification body. And layers of history of certification make obviously the home safe, but is not actually adapted to the fast acceleration of new services that are coming up. And so that's actually a real burden, more than, and so the second thing is, the way I look at standard, what drives platform and standard is really the business model. There is right now one thing that is driving clearly standardization is home safety requirements. Safety will be the main driver of security, safety, anything like that. This is the main and best business cases right now for the whole home IoT ecosystem. This is the one that, to me, will be the first to be implemented because B2B ecosystem and B2C ecosystem have a conversion path to make this work. Everything that goes into the entertainment, enjoyment, etc., is too heavily complicated. Apple doesn't really want you to be very compatible with Google. There is so much vested interest in different places of the home that those places I don't see even standardization coming to reality in the near. You're going to choose whether you're going to be Apple or going to be more Google, more Amazon if we make this more or less an independent platform. And to come back to the area which is a green field, is incredible than the bathroom, which should be one of the places where health happens, I mean, your hygiene, and is completely empty of any kind of standardization efforts. So the one thing that industry players are trying to do is we create platform with open API, so it's easier for services to integrate with each other. We build SDK, so it's becoming easier to build application. But somehow you might want to say that your doctor or your dentist might want to be able to trigger some data and monitor what you're doing before the need of going to make a visit. And this era, we just launched a product called Kolibree Pro that does it, but this era is completely empty of any standardization effort. The only regulation that comes against us are mostly the HIPAA and all the data security stuff that comes in, but there is no real services that are built that will drive a good standardization for health.
Yep. Well, I think, Chris, your perspective probably on this is, I mean, you're using a very common standard in Bluetooth LE for all of your technology, correct?
Yeah, we're using, we're BLE, and then with our Atlas plugs, it's Wi-Fi BLE. So we just cared about how big is that market. And I think from the kind of startup company who has to raise venture capital, right, and show, hey, we can grow, I think that what is blocking a lot of standards and rolling up, I mean, frankly, is you see you've seen greed in the past on just the creation of platforms. And I mean, for example, for Apple and their entire thing with the home application, there was supposed to be the one smartphone screen and it connects to all these different like little smart home devices. Then no one did it. It didn't go anywhere because what about me, the developer? I need to sell to an investor case is, hey, I'm creating this cool hardware. Okay, how's this not going to be commoditized? You don't have a software interface that just rolls up to the Apple interface. You don't own that. Anyone in China can make that. So I think that's a very big importance for the creation of standards. And I think when SmartThings approached that from a startup and Samsung acquired it, I think that was a good thing because Samsung has approached with SmartThings in a non-greed-based way and has done a lot of different integrations. And having that, I think, is particularly great. I think Alexa is getting a lot of traction for the same reason. As an app developer, I can create my own skill on Alexa. It's my interface. I own that experience, and it can create further business opportunities for me as well. So I think when looking at standard creation, I mean, from a startup perspective, it's how do I preserve my ability to not be commoditized? How can I preserve my ability for future software upsells, capabilities in the long-term business future?
Yep. So I wanted to ask the panel, and later when we get to the question section, I want to ask the audience, what is the most interesting or strange piece of smart home tech that you've seen at CES so far this year? I've seen quite a few cool things, and one thing I've seen that's strange, but I kind of saw the point, I really see the point of it, is apparently there's an emerging market in smart trash cans. Yes, it is the steaming hot new gadget category of 2017. There are two different companies that I've seen that make scanners for your trash. They're UPC scanners, and one of them actually called GenieCam actually is also a voice recognition. So if you are throwing out a tube of toothpaste, it scans it, and if you're throwing an orange, it says, I can't scan this, what is it? And you say an orange, and it adds it to your shopping list, and it's integrated with Amazon Dash, so it can actually it knows what you've used up, it knows what you've eaten, and then it can reorder it for you. So nobody knows you like your garbage can, I guess. What is the most interesting? I won't even say strange because that made perfect sense to me when I took the time to listen to it. That you've seen.
So hey, I have a confession. I've been in meetings every day from 7 a.m. to like 8 p.m. So I've seen nothing beyond what's at ARIA and some of my meeting rooms. But we are meeting with a ton of customers, and they do come to us, and they kind of have very whimsical ideas about, hey, Bill, did you see that company X has this XYZ product out on the floor and it does this? Isn't that ridiculous? And I'm like, no, that's kind of cool. What? Who's going to buy that? I'm like, well, you know what? This whole point of IoT and connected home is to introduce surprise and delight elements that haven't been established, right? That's what makes it a nascent business and a white space opportunity for everyone in this room. So we may laugh at an appliance or something that has kind of IoT connected functionality built in, and people may say, well, who's going to buy that, particularly if there's a premium. But I guarantee you there's going to be a couple of people out there that are going to die to want to get that for their birthday or under the Christmas tree. So as long as, and feature creep is happening, right? Connectivity and IoT, yeah, there's definitely some manufacturers that are just kind of just making things connectable and probably figuring out their game plan after the fact, but so what? Isn't that part of like being in this amazing industry of ours, is this sense of exploration of what's going to stick and how things will evolve? So I'm not really answering your question, but I think you're okay with that. It's just really, just really a function of, it's fun. We're all tired, right? My feet are killing me as you guys are. We're drinking a lot of coffee, but who cares? Bring it on, man. I think it's great, right? It's like goofy stuff, great, I'm gonna buy one. Think about the first person that told their family they bought a Keurig machine. Like, how dumb were they to their family, right? It's like, what's wrong with dropping in that filter and pouring in, right? But now look at the world. So anyway.
No, I hear you totally, because I have this debate with my colleagues all the time. They'll see a product and they'll be like, well, I don't think this is big news because I don't think it's ever going to ship, right? Who would buy that? And I would say, listen, we shouldn't always judge. We're in the business of interesting, not the business of good. Besides, if everything worked like it should, who would come to our website to read about it?
That's a good hashtag right
there. So what's the most interesting thing you've seen, Dan?
Well, the funniest, I saw a Bathomatic, which I thought was pretty interesting. It was a connected bathtub. Delivered scents and oils to satisfy your needs. I thought it was
kind of cool.
A little bit too personal. I thought it was kind of cool, a little relaxing. So I thought, I could see that in my bathroom.
What do you besides the toothbrush, what's the most interesting
after
thing
the
you've
toothbrush?
No, but just to come to this, the funny thing is we have been named in probably 5 out of the 10 list of weird gadgets. So I was surprised to get us how a toothbrush with artificial intelligence be weird. So I discussed with a lot of people and they don't understand what it was doing. And we launched pre-orders just at Unveil. And we already have 5,000 orders as pre-orders. So I think, just to your example, you bring a new idea or a new concept, and then you see that people react positively or not. And you never know. Honestly, it takes 2 years to make something like that. It took us 1 million brushing of analysis to make something like that. So it's a lot of work to actually make a working device, and people don't realize this because, somehow you're consuming new gadgets before, And so when you start this 2 years ago and you end up being at the right time with all the right train, it was kind of satisfying. So yeah, we are pretty, we are surprised it's weird, but so the one thing I felt was interesting is there is this cats feeding automated device that lets you go on holiday for several weeks and get your cat completely fed with all the things they needed. I thought this was pretty useful if you have a pet and just pick the right aliments so that they have a good diet and just not every day the same thing. I thought that was actually a pretty nice invention.
Not bad.
I tried to walk Eureka Park every year and walk the entire thing. If you haven't gone down there, treat yourself and go there. It's awesome and so much fun. I think the best thing I saw actually was on the TechCrunch stage, and they had this device that you can set down on a table in any interface, and it makes the entire thing an interface. And you tap, and based off anywhere on the table, then it sends a message to the server, and it's IFT integrated, so then it can turn on lights and do anything that you program, and you can do secret knots, Morse code, anything. But I like that idea that they're experimenting with, that, okay, what if anything was an interface? What could you do? And I think that is, the point of some of these inventions that you may see are weird and might not take along the way, but they lead to better questions and better answers and exploration of ideas that can be the next great thing.
The anything as an interface thing is definitely happening. I mean, whether it's their way or another way, because you see Microsoft Windows Holographic coming out later this year, and not to get on a tangent, but they're really going to try and talking about Internet of Things, your home is going to be full of things that are both virtual and physical, and that's going to be all mixed together. You know, you're going to need a tracker for your Skype window. Like, what room did I leave it in? Because you can put it on the wall. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I just wanted to ask a question about security, because a lot of people obviously are concerned about the security of their data. You know, when they're using IoT, there's obviously a lot of personal information that one way or the other is getting picked up for them, whether they're talking to Alexa or it's their health information. So do you feel like IoT security is as good as it should be right now, and what are you doing, or what do we need to do to make it better?
Well, I think to make it better, we need to talk about it, you know. So, and I think every day the industry is rallying around the initiative. Are we perfect as an industry? No, but I think we'll get there. Again, I don't think it's a digital moment. I think it will happen as we progress through time. Certainly for our company, and everyone up here is going to essentially say the same thing, it is really important to us. Are you kidding me? Like, you break that bond with consumers, you're going to have some problems, regardless how great your technology is. So it's number one of importance to us. We obsess over it, and I'm kind of really proud of the strides that my company has made, and really the industry, right? Because we're talking about it, and it's an actionable item. So.
You know, we take IT security very seriously. I think that we're in a favored position because not only do we have the home security, home automation solution in the home, we also are more often than not the consumer's internet provider, and we have the ability to control and manage that router that's communicating to the internet. So that the power of that interface and the power of a holistic ecosystem, including the internet connection, allows us to have unique visibility into what's going on in the network and provide, you know, enhanced IT security. From a consumer point of view, I'd also say that the way we approach our ecosystem and the devices that are compatible with our platform reinforces the importance of security. So one of the reasons why we don't have thousands of devices that are functional or that work with Xfinity Home, and we have a limited amount and we're growing that carefully, is because IT security testing and certification is part of our approval process. So, you know, we've gone through testing where we've rejected partners that were in the last stages of approval simply because we found IT security holes that they had to fix before coming onto the platform. So when we stand behind a device, it includes form, functionality, integration, and of course, IT security.
So I'm on the edge of the health space, so everything that is related to health becomes even more sensitive. The two remarks I will have on, so for Kolibree there are two basic rules. Is number one, the data always belongs to the customer, so there is nothing you can do. That you will always be empowered with your data. You know what we have. You have the ability to remove it. You have the ability to decide to share it, especially with your doctors and stuff like that. And there starts to be some good best practice, especially from the platform side of what you should do. One of the things that I believe is it's not widely enough known what are all the best practices in IT security, in IoT security, and there might be some kind of industry effort to actually share all the best practices. How do you secure your system? Because companies like yours actually have been an incredible knowledge of experience, and every startup that starts make very, very big design mistakes in terms of IT security. I've been in this business for 20 years, so I have known a couple of mistakes, but we keep inventing new ones, and every new interface is a security risk. So that's the one thing I would say from a technical standpoint, and maybe from an industry standpoint. The other thing is over-security is a danger to early adoption. If anytime you want to connect one device to the rest of the home, you have to press a secret code, etc., adoption will not go on. A toothbrush is used by people from 0 to 95, 100 years old. They have no way to know how to connect their toothbrush to their smartphone. They don't even know they have a smartphone. They don't even know the store. So there is a lot of other security issues that are a risk to adoption. So we always monitor and do the trade-off between what are the necessary security. And the way I always approach it, what is the overall ecosystem? So this toothbrush connects to what are the benefits? What are the level of risk, and assess the level of security versus of risk that is acquired. I just want to make sure that we don't go on the opposite level because people are all afraid, that because we have increased security to connect one device to another, to such a level that it becomes a burden for the consumer to just connect to the rest.
It's definitely always a trade-off. I mean, I'm sure most people here have had that experience where you try to pair a Bluetooth device and you're like, what's the code again? And I feel like it's gotten easier the last few years where you don't have to start entering all these passcodes, and that
because you lower security. Actually, the reason is, for instance, BLE is so easy to pair because actually you have a lower security than the initial one where we have the exchange of secret keys. So the trade-off has been made for you.
Yeah.
Maybe we are not aware.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
Well, I think that's an interesting point of the trade-off of security and user experience, and that's something that needs to be kept in mind. I think for us as a company, we're trying to keep track of where your stuff is. So, of course, we need to be very cautious and make sure that we have best security on our servers and on our applications and across the devices. And I'm excited to see that the white hat IT community is starting to really put these devices under test and start to look at holes and start to do the white papers, the research. So we're now getting the entire security industry start to look at the opportunity in IoT and smart home devices and how we secure them. So this really helps emerging companies like ourselves when you have a large group of researchers doing research on your type of devices and and different ways to expose them. The fact is, though, is that every single platform, device, anything connected to the web is hackable today. I mean, if LinkedIn can get hacked, anything can get hacked. So we need to continue to research more and just provide the best security possible. But I think it's going to be very interesting, and it's interesting as the threats of security grows, as now it's government-sponsored hacking.
Yeah, very true. Well, I want to open it up. I want to open up to some questions from the audience. Yeah, please.
So, on the connected home side, we have not seen big builders adapting to it. So unless the builders actually adapt, home builders adapt it, you are not going to see the adoption of these devices. It's so difficult to buy all these electric bulbs separately, switches separately, and then it takes so much of effort to actually put them in. So when do you think that these builders will actually start building smart homes?
So, yeah, I'll take a shot at it if you don't mind first.
Go.
So, I don't know that I fully agree with the premise of the question. So let me repeat it for the audience, and we'll talk a little bit about it. So the question was, smart home adoption won't occur until we start to see new home construction pre-built with connected devices already in it. And that's really what's maybe hindering the rapid adoption of smart home technology. Is that about right? So I think that Comcast comes at it from a very privileged position because we have thousands of technicians and thousands of customer support representatives that are dealing with customers every day with their video, voice, and data and home security needs. Our technicians come and install those devices for you. Many of those devices are included as part of our service. So I think we are at the forefront of driving smart home adoption, especially past the 10% of early adopters. In fact, many of the low-tech ways we help support and make sure consumers understand how to use, onboard, troubleshoot their smart home devices is what will drive smart home adoption to the next 30% of households. That being said, I think builders need to see a material benefit in installing smart home. They need to see either a price premium or a time on market. I know that Coldwell Banker has some stats around how smart homes sell faster, and I think once the consumer demand is there and they have a preference towards capabilities in homes, I think you'll start to see adoption grow.
Hashtag what Dan said. So I think your question is great only because it illustrates the fact that I think our industry has a lexicon problem, okay? So focus group of one, feedback coming to you in 3, 2, 1. If you have a connected thermostat in your house, I would contend that you have a smart home, okay? You have a smart home. Some homes are smarter than others, have a higher IQ, but you're well on your way. So I was referencing to you previously this notion of don't let perfection be the enemy of good, and that becoming smart home adoption is not a digital event. We're not going to wake up one day and hit 124.6 million households. That's just not going to happen because, I don't know, it doesn't happen in any industry. But rather, we know that more and more households are adopting these types of technology. And you know what? We're all the benefactor of that because, again, we're bringing in all this technical whimsy, right? Pause for a second. Consider the fact that this Christmas, there were millions of people that were pumped to get a connected thermostat under their tree, or for Hanukkah. Fast forward 10 years ago. If I were to give a gift, a thermostat, a $20 thermostat with that little mercury bulb in there that's quite kind of weird, as a gift, I would be shot, okay? But so think about it. Think about the paradigm that that brings about, that someone got pumped because they got a connected thermostat as a gift. I mean, these are really fun, exciting times, and I would challenge all of us to really kind of challenge that notion of what is smart. So, you know, smart starts small, and then I guarantee you that you will increase. So I'm going to drop a stat on you guys because I know you guys like stats. So for every Samsung SmartThings hub that we have activated right now, we have on average of 14 connected devices to that hub. So on average, right? So some people have more, some people have less. Think about that for a second. I guarantee you, all narcissism aside, that person didn't buy a hub and buy additional 14 additional items in their cart when they purchased that hub. No. Matter of fact, our information, our data would tell us something quite different happened, but something as amazing. They bought the hub, maybe a couple sensors, maybe a light, a lock, or camera, whatever else. Then they hooked it all up. And then he said, okay, here it goes. I'm not technically savvy. I'm going to hook this stuff up and see what this does. And then they had that aha moment. Number one, they hooked it up themselves. And guess what? It wasn't too bad. And then they had friends and family come over and go, whoa, what is that? Check this out, right? And then guess what? Then it begins. And then they're going back to retail and they're doing research and they're going on to a lot of your guys' blogs and websites and finding out what's next. And that's the beauty of this industry, is that it's analog. It's happening like this. It's not a digital event.
Very true. Any other questions? Next.
I'm from San Francisco. I run a startup. Our work is to connect with product makers like some of you guys with enterprise buyers. So I'm glad to see Kolibree is here because your product is actually under our evaluation for our large enterprise deployment. Congratulations for you. But my question is more for Samsung and Xfinity folks here. Because you guys are really targeting for the smart home product on the consumer side. But I would like to get your point, thinking about what is the next step for adoption, especially on the institutional side. Are you seeing that is happening, or what is there from what we have today until the larger institution adoption?
I'll flip a coin.
Go for it.
So, great question. Kind of complicated answer without going over for an hour, but this is what I'll say. At Samsung, we're always going to believe to create technology, alliances, partnerships, whatever else, acquisitions, that will let our consumers know what is possible. So if you think about the devices that we carry with us and that we have in our home or on our bedside, it really revolves around on our body, right? Personal devices, watches, phones, whatever else, tablets, computers, in our home. So everything, TVs and sound bars, refrigerators, washer, dryers, smart home, sensors and whatever else. And then on the car, right? So think about all the amazing, I mean, there's some crazy stat, I'm not going to make it up because I forgot it, about the amount of time that us commuters spend inside the car. And certainly radio operators know that very well. So what I'm delighted is, you guys probably know that not too long ago we made an announcement that we had acquired Harman Kardon because of their amazing technology as it relates to infotainment and great stuff technology that happens in 4 wheels. So I'm delighted and totally geeked out to see what the next 3 years will bring to the industry from my company. I'm proud of my company for taking such a bleeding edge attitude to make sure that we're, again, showing people what's possible from the standpoint of technology in unexpected places.
You have anything to add, Dan?
Ditto.
This guy.
Do you have any other questions? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tara with Squawk.
Squawk.
Thank you.
Yesterday.
Say it again, Samsung, please. Okay,
Yes.
my question is, I'm a very big believer in this analog step-by-step, baby step our way to a new evolution. My question is, do you believe there's also an altruistic reason that people are moving towards this space? So obviously, make my life easy, convenient, I just want to be lazy, make my life convenient, help me find things, I get that. But this concept that we want to live in a little bit more harmony with environment, that we want to be seen as a better world citizen. And there's some interesting research. I'd be curious for your personal opinions on, do you feel that that is today a motivator, that altruistic reason to move to more IoT smart homes?
Do you guys want to try?
Yeah, we've been hogs.
Well, I think that when you look at the Nest thermostats, and this is one of the top sellers for the smart home, is that why people are adopting this a lot is that it reduces your carbon footprint, right? And that's a big selling point, is that it goes into an eco mode. And that feels good, and I think that having that consciousness, to show, hey, I'm reducing my footprint while also saving dollars on my monthly gas bill, that's a great way to get a smart home adoption for that particular device. For us, we're seeing adoption with the idea of, hey, I am helping other people find things. So we have a lot of users downloading our apps to participate in our peer-to-peer GPS system. So when you walk by a missing item, your phone detects it, sends a message to our server, and helps the other person find it. And so we definitely see a good feel-good with that. We thank the person, and this drives further adoption. And so we see that as well in our own products.
Yeah. This positive attitude we see, with all, so Kolibree is my 7th startup, and it's the only one because we were trying to deal with the most common disease in the world. The cavity is the most common disease in the world, and it's a disease. And the amount of people that we are trying to provide data, feedback, support to get the product to be right, to actually fit with the real usage. I have people out of Russia, I have people out of India, I have people from all around the world that were not only buying the device but actually contributing to make it better. And that's actually something that resonates a lot in any initiatives in the health space, is you are solving everybody's life. You are maybe saving or improving qualities of life of elderly people who lose their teeth and then they are usually near the end of the life. So it's incredible how this altruistic feeling happens not only in the consumer but also in the collaborative building of this new generation of device. Since a lot of this is software, it's easier to integrate feedback and improve the interface than it used to be.
Any other question? Next question?
Yeah, just one last question. So Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, NFC, are we concerned about long-term health implications here?
Wow. Yeah, before you guys answer, I just had to throw something out there because it's very interesting. I had a meeting yesterday with a company, very smart home related. I invite you to go check them out. They're downstairs. They're called Ossia, and they make a credible wireless power solution that, like a router is to Wi-Fi, over 2.4 gigahertz, they deliver power, electricity to your phone in your pocket. And so the number one thing that people were concerned about, they told us people were concerned about with their technology is it going to be bad for me? And they say, no, it doesn't go through organic flesh, and the 1 watt of power that they're delivering right now isn't enough to hurt anyone. But you can see that if people are worried about Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, how worried are they going to be about getting electricity that way? There's definitely at least a perception issue that this could be dangerous. What do you guys think?
I mean, hashtag what Avner said. But what I'll add on to that is the fact that consumer safety is kind of mission critical for not only Samsung, but every company that's sitting up on this stage. And so we go through rigorous testing, and we want to make sure that apart from surprise and delight and having an amazing open box experience, that we help to improve lives and to make people smile, and that'll always be mission critical. So, but what Avner brings up is mentionable due to the fact that the consumer's talking about it, and it's good for us to have continued conversations.
Anybody else have concerns about Wi-Fi or Bluetooth?
Well, I think that from a consumer standpoint, is that power generating out goes down dramatically, exponential with distance. But if cell phones are dangerous, then we just killed all the human race in 50 years.
Obviously it's all relative. I'm gonna out one of my coworkers was a few years ago was dating a woman who he told us made him turn off his phone and put it in the drawer or whatever, and she made him unplug his router because she was afraid of Wi-Fi. We didn't invite her anywhere. Next question.
Hi, hello. This is my question for Dan, actually, for Xfinity. What was your big challenges that you have to overcome selling your home products to your customers? And did smart home products help you in any way or any other?
So the biggest challenge we have is understanding the value or experience that the smart home or the solution can unlock, and appreciating why that mattered. To use the example, you don't really appreciate the ability to manage your HVAC control remotely or to arm or disarm your system from your phone until you experience it for the first time. I think making it simple and making it sort of an all-inclusive experience that's delivered in a package allowed consumers to discover things that they didn't otherwise appreciate. But the biggest challenge is explaining to consumers that don't understand why they need a camera, the value of a camera. But when I have aging parents. My parents are in their 70s. My grandmother is still alive. She's in her 90s. They live together. My parents take care of my grandmother. She's not very mobile. And for the longest time, they were afraid to be away from the home for an hour. More than an hour. They would call to see if she's okay. She wouldn't answer. They'd get panicked. They'd rush back. And they just couldn't understand how to have a connection to the home when they're not there. I installed Xfinity Home in their house. I put some cameras in their home. They still didn't really understand why this would be great for them until they were at my home with the grandkids and they were concerned and they opened their phone and they could see on the camera my grandmother sitting on the couch watching TV and everything was okay, and they could spend 2-3 more hours away from home. And at that moment, they had this discovery of what technology could unlock for them. They didn't understand how the cameras work. They didn't understand that they connected to this thing called Wi-Fi in their home that they don't even know they have either. They just know that we showed up, this was installed, we installed it on their phone, we showed them how to use it, and it was sort of a magical experience. I think, getting engagement for the first time is the biggest challenge, but once engagement occurs, people look for other things to control. What else can I control with my phone once they discover that first experience? So getting that experience installed is critical. And figuring out how to do that in an easy, simple way.
And once those things start to, roll like a snowball, all of a sudden it just becomes part of your life. And then your kids ask you, didn't you do that when you were a kid? Like it's like my son asking me what video games did grandma play when she was little, and we didn't have them. Like we had to go to this place called an arcade. So you can imagine in the near future someone saying what assistant did you use? What voice assistant did you use when you were little? Things like that. Next question? Anyone? Well, I wanted to ask you guys while we have a few moments left. What is something that you wish that you had in your smart home that you don't?
Got everything.
You have everything. You have everything.
I'm kind of spoiled. Yeah, I'm going to punt to you guys.
So I'm lazy, but I'm getting to the next level of being lazy when I don't want to wake up. So I like to have a gesture recognition to just do that and just have my door open and just not to have to open my mouth, so just to be able to have to use the force to open the door.
That's a good one. What about you, Chris?
I want cameras with in all my pantries and my fridge. I want to have some AI hooked up, so it's comparing what the inventory levels can recognize what I put in, register them, and then send that inventory levels up to a cloud. So then I can see on an app dynamically when I'm in a store the grocery list. That's what I want.
You could use that garbage can though.
The garbge can would be perfect.
It only knows what came out, but if we could integrate it with a toothbrush, it would know which things ended up in your teeth. Now, what I would like, by the way, I was talking about this, I'd like to actually do this as like a fun project for my house. I heard, and I haven't got to see it, but has anyone seen it, that there's a smart umbrella out there that lights up blue to tell you it's near your door, it tells you when it's raining. And it lights up blue. I think that's an okay idea, except what if I don't like the umbrella, and if I use it in New York, it's gonna break after like one use. I really wanna have something where I can put like a screen near my door, an LCD screen near my door, and it tells me everything I need to leave with. And if I don't leave with it, like my umbrella, because it knows the weather, or some equipment that I need or whatever, and if I start walking out the door without it, it makes my smartphone buzz or something like that, like, hey, you didn't pick up the umbrella, come back. I would love to have something that like made sure that I didn't leave home without the stuff that I need.
Can I drop a 30-second good story?
Yeah.
Hey, so my team and I, at the end of the holidays, we were kind of sitting in my office and we're like, what can we do fun in terms of a customer activation that we don't want to scream from the mountaintops, but we just kind of want to get with people. So we have this home monitoring kit. It's $249. It has a hub, some multi-purpose sensors, some motion sensors, whatever else. So we connected with, and please write this down, check them out because they're amazing people, blue-collar people, streets of South Philly, right? Gino's Cheesesteaks, Phil's Cheesesteaks, literally 5 blocks away. We connected with this institution called the Miracle on South 13th Street, and all they do is celebrate Christmas by adorning their houses with Christmas lights. And there's definitely a level of like one-upmanship and like, people arms race in terms of outdoing other people. So we connected with the community leader and we said, hey, all we want to do is give you some technology. We're going to provide tech support at your local church see if there's any questions, and have fun, have at it. Well, what do we do with this? And we're like, whatever you want. Like, use your imagination, just let us know how it went. So we came back a week later, and it was fantastic how happy they were with just the ability to turn their holiday lights on and off, triggered by either a motion sensor or a tap on the phone. I'm talking 48 families that connected this device all at once, and they were happy to just show their friends and family over the holidays that they could do this remotely, turn on their lights, or they would set up a motion sensor that would trigger holiday lights for the kids to wake up on Christmas, and they were blown away. And so many of them came back and were like, and Bill, check this out, we went over to this retailer, and we bought a thermostat, we bought a light, because now we realized how easy it was to set everything up. So my recommendation for everyone in here who's thinking really hard about smart home and are we there yet and is it dead, is go hang out, go to Gino's anyway and grab yourself a great cheesesteak. But walk over to this area, legit, Miracle on South 13th Street, and speak to the people about their thoughts on smart home and ask them what adoption looks like and how simple it was for them to enjoy just these basic, primal, surprise and delight elements, this electronic whimsy, okay?
Anyone, Dan, do you have any final thoughts?
No.
So much to say. Any of you guys? We have 1 minute left.
I had one remarks regarding the build. How do we accelerate the whole thing?
I'm a Pats guy, by the way.
No, the one lesson I received, because most of this technology we are discussing, apart from voice recognition, has been out there for a long time. It's getting popular, but it's been out there for a long, long time. So why do things happen now and not earlier on, or why later on? And the lesson I learned about the smart home from a lot of very senior guys from the industry is every product has a life cycle. A home is 30 years. Electronic device is 6 months. How do you connect a 30 years old life cycle thing that we call a home with a 1-year device. And the car industry had this struggle. A car was actually 7 years to make, right? Well, your phone was changing every 6 months or 12 months. Actually, Apple rhythm is in 1 year.
Yeah, look at all those people who have the alarm clocks in their hotel room that have the old Apple connector.
Exactly.
They are really sorry now. Anyway, I think we only have a second left, so I just wanted to thank all of our panelists and our audience. Everyone go out and make your home smarter.
Thank you.